Leslie? Yeah. Yes. It was. You know, you guys sound great. I'm glad you're happy with it. We what? So, no, we needed something. So, hey, David. How'd that go at the work? Hi, Avi. You guys sounded great at the bar mitzvah. So did Dana tell you there's a full Brit? There's a dollar bar mitzvah from 2 to 4 o'clock. Charlie goes in there, Steve's son. Not from set tomorrow. Yes. And then there's a bar mitzvah, another bar mitzvah on the 9th of the morning service. Ellie, she's like, the most amazing. He's just a sweet. You see how I get it. He's been here since he was like. Yeah, for those two would be awesome. The drummers care so much, right, Leslie? Right, Randy. All right. These microphones are like, not Michael, I know is taking care of me, but it's like they're almost like they're like jumping into my face, like But that's not your issue; it's mine. I guess it sounds pretty good, though, doesn't it? Yeah. All right. So I will live with the anxiety of the microphones encroaching into my space. What's that? Oh, like kind of make me laugh at them? That's a great idea. Michael, did you hear that? Googly eyes on the microphone. Okay. Let's get started. People will drift in. Everybody enjoying the great outdoors today? I was telling, I've actually told a lot of people that I'm not sure what it is, what it says about me at all, and I'm not trying to boost myself or denigrate myself, but I even in these days, what was it, 103 today? When I drive, no AC, windows down, sunroof open. So it's like I still feel like I'm living in like Minnesota in the summer, and I ignore the fact that I should be not driving with my windows open. But I do. People look at me funny, and they don't understand. But it's just the way that I roll.
So to speak.
No, literally, right.
Pun intended.
So that's what's going on with me. How are you guys doing? Everyone okay? Well, it's Shabbat, so whatever it is that's kind of edgy, let's try to roll off, let it roll off of us, and whatever it is that's schmutzy will come back to you. But it's nice. Shabbat gives us an opportunity to sort of let it go, even momentarily. So all the tsuris, that's a great Yiddish word. Tsuris, it's like troubles. The Hebrew word is tsar, which means narrow. And so the Yiddish kind of language took the word, and actually from Mitzrayim, right? The narrow place, that was the word for Egypt, sort of took that concept of narrowness and made kind of when we feel narrow, when we feel like we just don't have any room, that our troubles are sort of overwhelming us. That's tsuris. It's a great word to like use in regular everyday conversation. But we all have it. We all have tsuris, one kind or another. Some of it's deep and some of it's, kind of ordinary. But the notion is that Shabbat gives us this window of holiness that just lets us feel the potential of what it would be, even for moments without that tsuris. Just to let it go and to kind of feel the promise of wholeness, the promise of clarity, the promise of renewal, and just taste it, right? There's a saying that Shabbat is like a taste of the world to come. So just taste it, because the troubles are, the tsuris is coming back, right? It's just part of the ups and downs of life. But if we use Shabbat to kind of let us glimpse, what it's like to have wholeness, then it helps us in those edgy moments. It helps us keep perspective. So that's one of the reasons we're here, to begin this time, these moments of Sabbath, of peace and holiness, and creating this space that wouldn't exist if we weren't conscious that it was Shabbat coming, right? I mean, Shabbat is here, but if people aren't conscious of it, it's just moments in time. So I invite you to enter with us, with me, with Leslie and Bryn and Avi, with people you know and came with people you've never met before. Enter with us into this holy time. This service is called Kabbalat Shabbat, receiving the Sabbath, because it's just beginning. It's not even yet begun, but it's about to begin when the sun sets. And we get to receive it together. We get to encounter and experience what that slice of perfection can be like. So we're going to sing. That's part of Shabbat. Part of bringing us to that space has always been singing. Singing has always been part of Shabbos. You sing at the Shabbat table, and you sing at services, and you sing after services, and the next day. I mean, really, if you kind of hang around observant circles, right? Like, it's nice to be a tourist in those circles sometimes.
Did you say tourist or tourist?
Tourist. When you hang out in those circles, you do get this feeling like, wow, a whole lot of this is just floating on song. Every meal has its own set of songs. So we've got our own set of songs here. Many of them are on the Siddur, and some of them we'll feel our way through together. But on page 4, we have a set of opening melodies we often sing on Friday night, Kabbalat Shabbat. Help us ease into Shabbat. And I'll twist it up. All
And if you look on page 4, there's actually 1, 2, 3 melodies that we sing together. The first one is labeled nigun. And nigun is a Hebrew word that comes from linagain, which is melodies. And a nigun became a spiritual practice of singing without language, without words, just sound and breath and spirit, lai. And there's a whole body of nigunim, of niguns. You know, there's books and books and books. My own oldest child did a little study about different melodies and where they came from. And there's modern nigunim. It's quite an incredible body of work for songs with no words. But then we do enter into words. First English, The House of Prayer is the title of this one. And it's translated from original Hebrew, from the book of Isaiah. And then finally, we work our way to actual Hebrew, also from the Bible, the book of Psalms, with Hine Matov. And just invite you to catch on, to sing along, to hum along, to clap along, just to find your way into the music as we start together in harmony and in song.
And they shall come to my holy mountain
and rejoice in my house of prayer. My house shall be a house of prayer for all peoples. My house shall be a house of prayer for all peoples. And they shall come to my holy mountain and rejoice in my house of prayer. My house shall be a house of prayer for all peoples. My house shall be a house of prayer for all people. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good it is and how pleasant when we, a group of siblings, of family, of friends, when we gather together in peace and in harmony. Here we go. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב עליי. שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב עליי. שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב. שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב. שבת אחים גם יחד. Amen. Y'all sound good. Yesterday, Rabbi Daniel, Rabbi Carrie, and I spent, I think, a total of 4 hours at the mikveh. We had a number of people who had, the mikveh is sort of a part of the conversion journey that's well after the beginning of the journey, right? The journey kind of takes you to the mikveh and beyond. But we were fortunate enough to be with some wonderful people who entered into the waters of the mikveh and became officially part of the Jewish people. In between, we even got some work done. We kind of it was our office there. We got a lot of high holiday work done, and we were just kind of soaking up the vibes and the air conditioning of the mikveh. But two of the people who were with us are here at our service. We're blessed to have Absalom and Shlomo, and I'd like to ask them to come up so that we can mazel tov you, right? Come on up. And they each entered into the waters of the mikveh and said the blessings, and we sang Hine Matov right there in the mikveh, not Hine Matov, Hevenu Shalom Alechem, right there in the mikveh. And they said they were coming to services tonight. So, of course, we wanted to honor you both by having you light the Shabbos candles. First time as officially Jews. I know you've been lighting Shabbos candles for a long time, but something a little different. I know there's people out here who remember the first time they lit Shabbat candles officially Jewish. And so we're very happy for you. We're really happy for us that you are with us now in our quest, our continuing quest to make the world a better place for Tikkun Olam. And I know you've been doing that in your own ways for a long time, and now you get to do it with our community and with the Jewish people. So let's do a couple things. We're going to sing this preparation for candle lighting on the bottom of page 4. And then as we're singing, the two of you can work together to light the candles. And then we'll sing the blessing, the bracha, for beginning Shabbat with the lighting of lights. And then we'll maybe sing you another mazel tov. And Bruchim Habayim. Welcome to both of you. So, the song is first. Hear our prayers. We sing to you. Go ahead whenever you're ready. Hear our prayers. We sing to you. Be gracious to the ones we love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear our prayers to you. Let us light these lights and see our way to you, and let us say Amen. Let us light these lights and see our way to you, and let us say Amen. Shlomo with Absalom, let's spread that light around, send it wherever it needs to go, all the people, all the places that need extra light and extra love, and then bring some of it right back into your own heart and soul, because there's always enough light to go around. And let's sing with Leslie, with Bryn, with Avi, with each other, the blessing of this mitzvah that we're all participating in by being here together, of lighting lights to begin the Sabbath.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ruach haolam, Shabbat. V'zimon le'adlik ner shel Shabbat.
Thank you. Thank you for lighting the candles with us, and thank you for being on this journey with us. And so Mazel Tov means congratulations. It's a significant moment. The mikvah was wonderful, and this is sort of the more public celebration of you becoming Jews by choice. So with me, with the musicians, let's sing to these two wonderful humans. Siemen Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov.
Siemen Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Siemen Tov. Siemen Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Siemen Tov. Yehelanu, 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 U'lechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, U'lechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, U'lechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, U'lechol Yisrael.
Mazel Tov. And Shabbat Shalom to everybody. Yeah, there you go. Shabbat Shalom to all of you, now that we've officially lit the candles. Shabbat Shalom to the people watching us on the stream. Shabbat Shalom to you guys who are just walking in. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom to the universe. How about that? Actually, Leslie did something when she was singing the bracha. She used the word ruach instead of melech. You might have noticed. Oftentimes in our prayer book, we substitute ruach for melech for theological reasons, to describe God more as spirit and breath than ruler or king, which is really the literal translation of melech. And we had an incredible bar mitzvah. Some of you were here last Shabbat on Saturday morning. Their name is Vince. And Vince, without any of us talking to him about ruach, came to me, right, maybe 3 weeks before their bar mitzvah, and said, I would like to change all the melechs to ruach. And I said, we can do that. Tell me why. And Vincent said, because ruach doesn't have gender. It's a way of describing God beyond gender. So you are free, like Leslie did, to substitute ruach where it says melech, or stay with the traditional melech. But I just thought about Vincent, and especially when Leslie in the candle lighting blessings sang ruach. So there you have it, a little theology for your Friday night. Turn, please, now that we've lit the candles and said Shabbat Shalom to each other, to page 6. Avi, you going to give me a drum beat for this one? Shalom Aleichem? You'll catch on. All right, I like to pound the table during Shalom Aleichem. That's what they do at Zmiris Shabbat tables. So we'll sing this one. This is a very traditional Shabbat melody and song about greeting Shabbat. Once again, it's all part of this Kabbalat Shabbat service, greeting the Sabbath, greeting the angels that symbolize Shabbat. And also, I like the Aleichem of Shalom Aleichem, because Aleichem means all of you. So when you say Shalom Aleichem, you're not only saying shalom to one person or two people or the people you know really well. It's shalom to everybody. Like, it's a universal kind of a greeting. So if you're ready, let's sing it together. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bachuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seyedchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Beautiful. All right, turn please to page, let's go 11. How about 11? Please stand if you're able. So if you look over to my right, past Avi, you'll see a little bit of a different setup than we're used to. That's because our brand new High Holiday band, we have to, no name yet. So if you come tomorrow to hear them, it's not the High Holidays yet, but they are playing tomorrow. If you come tomorrow to hear them, maybe you'll try to come up with a name. I don't know, Leslie, there's no name yet, right? High Holiday Band. We got to come up. All right, so they need a name, but that's another story. It's set up because there was a rehearsal. Today we've been rehearsing with Leslie and Alan and this crew and the Lazaroff brothers, the brothers Lazaroff, every Friday. And we kept the setup because tomorrow we're having a Shabbat service at an annual meeting and we're previewing High Holiday music with the band. So if you want to come back tomorrow at 10 o'clock, you can check that out, or if you want to wait till Rosh Hashanah, you can do that as well. But the reason, and Slichot. The reason I bring that up is because I got to do a little rehearsal with the band, and this is one of the tunes, this Baruch Hu tune that we worked on, and it's very obvious that I'm not used to singing with the whole band. These guys are amazing, but like we're talking, drums and mandolin, and I kind of felt like that whole Dylan Goes Electric thing, do you guys know that story? Not that I'm comparing myself, but that's what it was like. It was like, oh, this guy is used to being at a campfire, not fronting. But I think we got better, didn't we, Leslie?
You're really underestimating
Yeah,
yourself.
well.
You did a really good job.
Aw.
He did.
Oh.
He was spot on.
But this is much more my comfort zone. So anyway, Baruch Hu is our call to prayer, and there's a little bit of English that goes along with it that is not in the Siddur, so I will say it to you, and hopefully you'll remember it and sing it back. Am I awake? Right? This is a time of awakening when we're at services, when it's Shabbat. Am I prepared? A great high holiday sort of question. Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yada lai lai lai, 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 yada lai lai lai. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yada lai lai lai, 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 yada lai lai lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach. Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Please be seated. Another one that's not on the pages. We almost gonna be time to revise the prayer book once again. Probably been like 5 in the history of the congregation. I'll say I'm kind of spitballing that a little bit, but used to be like, 12 pages stapled together. That was our Siddur, right? And now we're like in the hundreds of pages. But every once in a while, new things come our way and we learn different stuff and melodies and words and just like the tradition, the prayer book evolved through the thousands of years. Our prayer book has evolved through the decades of years. It's going to get to be time soon to do that process. And I think this one will hopefully make the cut. The Sanhedrin of CRC will decide. That's the backbenchers. You are now the Sanhedrin.
Good choice.
One love for each other, sisters and brothers. We're one, but we're not the same. We get to carry each other. Carry each other. Sing with me now. One. Keep going. One. One love, one blood, one heart, one soul, one drum, one rhythm, one tribe, and all of us singing one. Oh yeah, singing one. Love is the temple. Love the higher law. 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 One. One more time. Page 15 is our prayer that has that word one in Hebrew at the very end. Echad, with the large dalid for emphasis. Oneness, unity, collective. All of those words that say that with and through our differences and our diversity, we also equal one. It's new math, don't ask. But it works. It does. In our tradition, right? There are some prayers. Most of the time we stay seated. Some prayers ask people if they can to stand. The Shema is funny that way because there are different traditions with the Shema. There are some communities where people stay seated throughout the whole Shema, and then there are communities where everybody stands. And so we've become a community in this sense of hybridity, just whatever works for you in the current moment. If you want to, sort of pray the Shema like a Reformed Jew, stand up. If you want to pray the Shema like a conservative Orthodox Jew, stay seated. Or if you want to be Jewish renewal person, you can lay across the row on your chairs. Reconstructionist, build your own synagogue.
Or you can adventure.
Exactly.
You can just bicker about it.
But we're still going to sing the same words together. That's the ticket. That's the key. So however you want to position yourself, and know that we are reciting an ancient, not just a prayer, but a part of Torah that has stood the test of time in a huge way and has sustained our people in many, many ways. Stories of martyrs going to their death singing the Shema. Stories of people in the hospital with their families by their side saying the Shema for them because they can't say it anymore for themselves. Little children being sung the Shema before they go to bed and when they wake up. And us here, same words. So Shema Yisrael is a call to us to truly believe in oneness. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. If you're standing, you may be seated. We're continuing together the words that follow the Shema in the Torah scroll, in the Sefer Torah, on page 16 of our prayer books. And you shall love. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'aderech uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha uv'kshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafo bein einecha u'ktavtam al mizuzot beitecha uv'yisharecha Leman tizkeru v'yasitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim le'Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem. Amen. Page 18. Page 18. This is the redemption part of the Shabbat service. The part that we launch ourselves into the future, even with the past informing us. The future, we hope, is better than the present, improves upon what's good about the present and helps repair what desperately needs fixing in the present. That's redemption, the promise that things can be better, that we're not on this sort of static path, that change is possible, and often, we hope, change for the better is possible. And of course, that can't happen if we're passive about it. We're part of that change. We're part of that tikkun that I talked about when Shlomo and Absalom lit the candles, right? That's our task, with God's help, to repair the world, to bring more justice, to more love, more kindness and compassion. All those godly values that we know ought to be more prevalent than they even are now, to protect people that are marginalized. This particular redemption prayer goes back to a time when our people in the story were as marginal and as vulnerable as you could get. We were runaway slaves and still holding out promise for something better, as we still do today. Micha Mocha. Sing together. Yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai. ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la, ya la la la, ya la, ya la la la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha neder b'kodesh, nora tehila oseh feleh, oseh feleh. Yai lai lai, yai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai. Ya'imloch le'olam va'ed, Ya'imloch le'olam va'ed, Ya'imloch le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed. Yai lai lai, yai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai. Page 20. The other thing that happened at that rehearsal, we did rehearse Hashkivenu for the high holidays, and I basically used my talking time to talk about the talking time. It was very meta. You know, I was like, okay, in this part, I just sort of say a lot of stuff while I'm strumming the guitar, and I all of a sudden I looked over, and every single person in the band was like looking at me like this. Like I don't know what they were tracking me or following me or something. It was quite an experience. And here I go again. So, but I do have something I want to say here beyond just meta talking about talking. Because I want to make sure we all are on the same page of the calendar, the Jewish calendar. We were at the board meeting Thursday night. We started meeting, we met it, before we started the business of the meeting, we gathered around the mosaic. So everyone had take a look back through the doors to the Oneg room. You can see that beautiful mosaic, which holds our calendar, the Jewish calendar on it, and symbols and drawings and illustrations. Because I wanted everyone to see the month that we're in, and I want you all to know the Hebrew month that this is, because it's very important in our spirituality and our tradition. We talked about it at the mikveh. This is the month of Elul. And Elul is one of those months that has a purpose, you know, beyond just that hold the days and weeks. The purpose of Elul is when we pay attention, or if we pay attention. That Elul is the month of preparation for the high holidays. A whole month to prepare. So that when Rosh Hashanah begins, this year on a Friday night, oh my gosh, this year in, 3 weeks? September 15th, 3 weeks? That sounds about right? In 3 weeks tonight, that if we've used the month of Elul well, we're not just launching into this new year. And not even 10 days later launching into the day of at-one-ment, of atonement. But we've done some preparation, getting ready to try to be our very best selves, to really, really this time engage in teshuvah, in transformation, which is the goal of these holy days. Positive, significant, meaningful transformation. So I have a passage, one of my favorites, to read from you. It's from the Midrash, a wonderful, huge Jewish body of literature, stories and messages, morals. So listen to this. The Midrash imagines God speaking to us. And here's what God says. My children, give me an opening of teshuvah, an opening of repentance, right? This idea that we can change for the better. Give me an opening no bigger than the eye of a needle. So try to picture that. The opening as big, or shall we say as tiny, as the eye of a needle. All we need to do, God says, is open up the possibility in our lives for tshuva. That's just as a speck, maybe even smaller than a speck. And then God continues. If you open up the possibility of repentance within you, an opening no bigger than the eye of a needle, then God says, I will widen that very tiny opening and make it one through which wagons and carriages can pass through. Imagine that. From the eye of a needle to an opening so large that wagons and carriages, and if we updated that, we'd say what? Like SUVs. Meaning, all we have to do is go a little bit of the way. Open up our hearts just a little bit. Open our minds. Go inward. Reflect. Do the work of Elul, which is called Heshbon Nefesh, an accounting of our souls. Do it just a little bit, and you'll see, all of a sudden, you'll be ready for some major and significant change. Nobody says it's easy. Even opening as tiny as the eye of a needle isn't easy. That's the point. But if you can do it, that's spiritual work. Major change can happen then. So still 3 weeks to go. For tshuva. To be better to each other. To serve each other. To be a shelter of peace for ourselves and others. Take this soul, living in my skin and bones. Take this soul and let it sing. Yahweh, Yahweh, always paid before a child is born. Yahweh. It's always dark before the dawn. Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu. Allow us to lie and rise in peace, to lie and rise with shalom all around us and within us. Allow us to lie and rise in peace. Shalom. Allow us to lie and rise in peace. Shalom. Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gotta be alright. Everything's gotta be alright. Ufros aleinu sukat, sukat shlomecha. Ufros aleinu sukat, shlomecha, and cover over us tonight with a sukat shalom, a shelter of peace for you, for those you love. Sukkot Shalom, a shelter of peace in this month of Elul and beyond as we reach towards the new year. New year we hope is filled with peace. We pray for Shalom, not only for us and our loved ones, but for all creation, everyone, and everything that dwells on earth. May this night, this Shabbat night of Elul, help bring more peace to the whole world. Amen. Start making that opening the size at least of the eye of a needle. Great things can happen from there. Maybe even more peace. Thank you. Amen, that's right. Okay, let's turn to page 22. Oftentimes a Kaddish, there's about 8 or 9 in the traditional prayer book Kaddishes, actually. They're all a little bit different. There's a Kaddish for teachers, honor teachers. They all have very similar words. The Mourner's Kaddish, which most people are most familiar with, adds verses of a prayer for peace. But oftentimes the Kaddish in the prayer book, the traditional prayer book is used, and even in ours too, is used for transition. When you transition from one section of the prayer book to the other, that's why we have the Reader's Kaddish, the Chatzi Kaddish on page 22, separating the Shema section, which we just ended with Hashkivenu, from what's called Tefillah, which we do here on Friday night mostly in silence. So let's chant this version of a Kaddish with healing prayers for hopefully that ambulance or that siren is signifying help is on the way for somebody. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba ve'alma divra kirute v'yamlich malchute v'chai yechon uv'yom echon uv'chayidicho beit Yisrael Bagala, bagala, uvizman kari v'imeru, amen. Yehi shemei rabba mivorach, leolam olmei olmaya, yitbarach, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitchomam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal, shemei dekudesha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'imeru. Amen. Please stand again if you are able. Page 23. As I said, we do the next group of prayers largely in silence, but we do start by singing together words from another psalm, what I call the psalm of opening, because it has that verb patach, to open. And then you're on your own for a little bit. Some silent prayer time. You can look at the prayers on the pages of our Siddur, your own prayers and longings of your heart and soul. Time to put your own individual imprint on this communal prayer. And when you're through for that moment of prayer, just have a seat. And when everyone's basically seated, we'll sing together one more time, another prayer for peace, because you can't have too many of those. But now for opening, for open hearts and minds and open souls and open arms to welcome each other. The prayer says for our mouths to be open, for sacred words and for kind and holy words to come out. Adonai sefetai tiftachu fi yagid tahilatecha. Alay, lay, 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 Adonai. Yay, lay, 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 sefetai tiftach. Yai lai la lai la lai Ufia ki tehilatecha. Ai lai la lai la lai lai Adonai. Yai lai la lai lai sifatai tika. Yai lai la lai 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 ufia ki tehilatecha. Ai lai la lai 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 Adonai. Yai lai 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 sifatai tika. Yai lai 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 ufia ki tehilatecha. Ai lai 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 Adonai. Yai lai 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 sifatai tika. Yai lai 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 ufia ki tehilatecha. Ai lai la lai la lai lai Adonai. Ai lai la lai lai sifatai tika. Yai lai la lai la lai ufia ki tehilatecha. Let's, before we do the peace prayer, like sometimes to give people the opportunity to introduce themselves if they wish to the community, the configuration of the congregation that's here. We're always a little bit different whenever we gather. There's always a little bit of a different group of folks, which is wonderful. And so I don't know if you have the desire or the interest in saying hello, wanting to make sure people know who you are, whether you're here a lot or you're here for the first time. Just raise your hand and kind of as loudly as you can, let people know who you are. And then when we finish service and you want to stick around for the oneg, for a little bit of food and connection, someone will come up and say, hey, thanks for introducing yourself in the middle of this service. So anyone on this half, yeah, please. All right, well, welcome, Iowa City. I love Iowa City. Yeah, but you live here in St. Louis?
Yes, I do. I was up there for work.
Got it. So, I went to Iowa City. Last time I was there, actually, this was before same-gender marriage was nationwide because of the Supreme Court. Iowa was one of the first states. Iowa and Minnesota, I think, were the Midwestern states that legalized marriage first. And wonderful member of our congregation named Ed Reggie organized marriage buses. And we would all travel together, clergy and couples, many couples who had been together for decades. And we would go to Iowa City in the marriage bus and go to City Hall, which was really exciting because these couples were getting legal marriage licenses, something many of them never thought would be possible. And then we went to a Unitarian church, and all the couples got to choose, like you want a rabbi, you want a minister, you want to eat whatever, whoever. And there was like 8 of us, and so I performed that day like 6 marriages. But there were like, I don't know, 15, 20 marriages total. And then they rented out this like a social hall or a restaurant in Iowa City, and we had a big old reception for everybody. And I think Ed Reggie did like maybe 12 of those buses. And then all of a sudden, the Supreme Court decision came down and people could get married here in Missouri. But for a long time, Iowa City was the place. So we're glad you're here. Welcome. Baruch haba. Anybody else in this half want? Yeah, please.
Introduce Charles Collins. He's been absent without leave for about 10 years.
10 years.
Where have you been? No, that's okay. It's up to you.
Yeah, I'm Charles. You wouldn't know it, but I'm tangentially part of CRC history. I lived in St. Louis for 23 years, and for 17 of those, I accompanied the CRC choir for high
I remember, yeah.
I go back to the congregation when we used to go back across the street.
Yeah.
The Unitarian Church, I think the first services I played were at Westport, we're at Coca,
Yeah.
and then followed you to Westport Playhouse,
And then the Chase. Yeah. Charles, welcome back.
If any of you were here for my birthday, you remember Alan talking about how I could always pull up good musicians?
Yeah.
Ta-da!
That's great, Charles. Well, that's fortuitous you were here when we were talking about this new band we got. You'll have to come.
I will tell you, I had many jobs while I was in St. Louis, but the only one I missed was CRC.
Aw.
Because high holidays were part of the...
Yeah, the cycle. Beautiful. Thank you,
You
Charles.
wrote beautiful music for us,
Yeah.
too.
Welcome back. Anybody else? This is good. Yes, please. Yeah. So, and you guys had an expert braider braid your hair.
Your life.
Yes, you had. Yeah, I know. I remember because I officiated your parents' wedding, and you were in the wedding. How old were you? 5? 3. 4. Neon walked down the aisle with a doll. Is this okay? Am I embarrassing you? With a doll who was dressed like a bride at their mom's wedding. So it was in Soulard, at like this really cool place that your parents picked a cool place to get married, if I recall. And yes, right. Yeah, you guys probably know what it is. It's like a castle in Soulard. It's like
The Emerson House
maybe.
on Russell.
Yeah, that sounds about right. It was cool. There was all kinds of nooks and crannies. Thank you, Neon. Who else back here? Yes, sir. Thanks, Paul. I'm a little bit at a loss for words for anyone calling what I do traditional, but
Traditional for us.
no one's going to believe that you said that. Like, so someone's going to need to reform this tradition. But thank you. It's great to see you, Paul, always. I appreciate that. Paul Dobbins, a lot of great places, so we're lucky you come here too. Did we exhaust everyone that wants to introduce themselves to this side? Okay.
My name is Dustin. I've been going here for about a month. I have my sister with me. We're coming from Hannibal, Missouri, so 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
Previously, I attended shul in Duluth, Minnesota for about a year. So
Oh man, that was probably Bob Dylan's boyhood shul. He grew up in Duluth and then moved to Hibbing. I know too much about this. Yeah, that's really awesome. Thanks for coming here all the way from Hannibal. Bring some of that Mark Twain mojo with you, and that Mississippi River. Although we got that here too, I guess. So.
it's cleaner up here out there.
Oh, I like Hannibal. That's a cool place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Welcome. It's good when siblings come over to synagogue. I like that.
And I have a sister, Kelsey, like you said. I'm actually the one who introduced him to Reform Judaism, so
Yeah, well, good for you. See? One Jew at a time. You what?
Band.
A
Okay.
band.
Band name.
Oh, that's
The
good.
Wandering Jews.
We'll take it into consideration. Thank you. How about on this side? Anyone want to say hello? We've got some great introductions today. Please, yeah.
My name is Ashley. This is my son Liam.
Hi.
I previously attended Temple Israel.
Uh-huh.
And grew up at TI.
Okay.
I have not been at Temple since before he was born.
Okay.
Liam, I married outside of the Jewish faith.
Okay.
And we thought our kids would decide their own religion. So Liam, a few weeks ago said I really identify more with being Jewish and the messages of Judaism. So we're looking for more of a close-knit community. And we have a couple friends that belong to, this congregation that have said wonderful things. Just thought we'd
Beautiful.
visit.
Thank you. We're so glad you're here. Hey, Liam. What year in school are you?
What year in school are you?
Eighth?
8th grade.
All right. Well, really glad you're here. Really glad you're here. And yeah, shalom and Shabbat shalom.
Somebody in the back, too.
I know. Oh, go ahead. Nancy first and then, yep. Go ahead, yep. I don't want to say your name because it'll steal your thunder. Beautiful, thank you. And one looks like that is very true. That's true. One more introduction, thank you.
I'm Trisha, and I just actually started my path conversion on Tuesday. My first class is Tuesday, and I'm so excited.
Oh, awesome. That's great.
I've never felt this, I don't know, and just connected.
So very glad. Well, hey,
Also help bake the challah, and that's a
yeah, that's Yashikok. That's great. That's great. Well, you could have a conversation with Shlomo and Absalom, and because they were at the part of the journey that you are now. So beautiful. So let's sort of
Steve wanted to say something.
yes, Steve.
I'm here pretty much every Friday night. A young lady that I bring normally is celebrating her 90th birthday.
There's no way.
Dakota's
90?
Is that Sunday? Sunday?
August 30th.
Yeah. Okay. I have it in my calendar.
So I was out of town at an Orthodox Greek wedding in New York City last weekend.
Uh-huh.
This weekend, I have guests from New York, actually, and Allison Cohen, and I asked her to sometime join us at CRC. So, Allison, welcome to CRC.
Glad you're here. I'm so glad. Yes.
Just wanted to say Eileen, who's not here, who's about to celebrate her 90th birthday, is in North Dakota because she will, on her 90th birthday weekend, have made it to every single state.
Oh, did you hear that? So just for the people on the stream, because that's pretty cool. Eileen Osheroff, wonderful member of our congregation who's turning 90 on August 30th. Send your emails her way. Is in North Dakota for her birthday because that marks her visit to, she's been to every state in this country as of now because she's in North Dakota. So on her 90th birthday celebration, she has been to every single U.S. state, which is pretty awesome. So thanks for telling us that, Lisa. So lots of great introductions and lots of wonderful people to celebrate, to begin Shabbat with. And now we know we truly have the people power to rebuild this world and fill it with chesed, with love and with kindness. So this is on page 31. Olam chesed. Olam chesed yivane, yadalai, yadalai, yadalai. Olam chesed yivane, yadalai, yadalai, yadalai. Olam Olam chesed yibane, yada lai lai lai, yada lai lai. Olam chesed yibane, yada lai lai lai, yada lai lai. Olam chesed yibane, yada lai lai lai, yada lai lai. Olam chesed yibane, yada lai lai lai, yada lai lai. Olam chesed yibane, yada lai lai lai, yada lai lai. Olam chesed yibane, yada lai, yada lai, yada lai lai. I will build this world from love. Yada lai, 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 yada lai, lai. And you must build this world from love. Yada lai, 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 yada lai, lai. And if you build this world from love, yada lai, yada lai, lai, then God will build this world from love. Yada lai, yada lai, Olam chesed yibane, yada lai, 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 yada lai, lai. Olam chesed yibane, yada lai, 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 yada lai, lai. Olam chesed yibane, yada lai, yada lai, yada lai, lai, yada lai, lai. Olam chesed yibane, yada lai, 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 yada lai, lai. Olam chesed yibane, yada lai, yada lai, yada lai, lai. Amen. A few announcements before we conclude with the Mourner's Kaddish. As I kind of have said a couple times in different ways, if you want to come back tomorrow morning, we are having a sort of a shorter Shabbat service, probably about this length. Even with the Torah reading, we're going to really kind of condense things. But we are going to have music featuring maybe the Wandering Jews, we'll see, but certainly our High Holiday Band, which is brand new really to CRC with Leslie and Alan and a wonderful collection of musicians. They'll be providing the Shabbat music. And once the service is over, we will then sort of transition into our annual meeting, our congregational annual meeting, which will include an address from our outgoing president, the wonderful Natalie Schatzman, who's been an amazing president. Started out in COVID, in lockdown. It's difficult enough to kind of, sort of help put your arms around a congregation like this, but then to do it when the building's closed. So Natalie really want to make sure we honor her. She's going to stay on the board as a past president, but she's rolling off as president. We'll also hear from our brand new incoming president, Paul Wagman, who's been here since the very beginning, and he's agreed to be our next president. We're going to honor our outgoing board members. David is on the board, but you're staying on, right, David? Okay, thank goodness. And what's that? Yes, yeah. Oh, come on now, that's that guilt. I wasn't even thinking about you. Jeez. All right. Wow, backbenchers are really living up to their. Anyway, we will honor those outgoing board members. We'll introduce the brand new board, including those who have remained, and we've got some new board members. And then we're going to say a Lehitra Oat, which means see you soon. We'll miss you. To wonderful Nancy Weigley, who is moving on, still going to be working in the Jewish community at the Federation, but is leaving her position at CRC. She's going to stay a member, but Nancy's been with us. She was a member and a board member before she joined our staff, but she's been with us for 10 years. I think many of you know Nancy. So this is sort of our Lehitra Oat service or moment. We're going to have some blessings for Nancy, a special song, and Nancy herself is going to say some words of goodbye, but she'll probably be back the next Saturday anyway. And that's that. So that'll be a really nice morning, and then there'll be an expanded oneg after all that. So if you want to come on back, you're more than welcome to do so. That's tomorrow. Then Sunday, Karen is here. Karen Flotty is, and Karen helps with Lisa and many great volunteers. Work at the garden, we call it the Mitzvah Farm, to the west of the parking lot, where we are blessed to plant and grow food for our food insecure neighbors. If you'd like to try your hand at gardening, come at 6 o'clock on Sunday. The time will move to 5 beginning the following Sunday, Labor Day weekend, due to the shortened daylight hours that lead up to daylight savings. But this one's at 6. Even if you've never been there, even if you've never gardened before, the crew will help you find a wonderful role. And it's really great community. The weather's supposed to get cooler on Sunday. High of 82. Yeah, it's going to be like California. Okay. So coming out at 6 o'clock, I know they'd love to see you. And if you're already a regular volunteer, great. And if you're new to it, Leslie's at the garden all the time. It's a wonderful activity, and it's good for the earth and good for the world. So then just a few high holiday announcements. If you want to try your hand at writing an essay, a reading we call them, you can do that. Some readings are read out loud at the high holidays, not all of them, but some of them. If you'd like to write Mariah, M-A-R-I-A-H, at centralreform.org with some kind of essay that has to do with the themes of the high holidays, we'll read them and we'll let you know if you're going to be a high holiday reader, but we'd love to see what you have to write and have to say. And then I'm just going to read this off the sheet. Calling all high holiday bakers, would you like to do something extra sweet for CRC and the new year? If you're willing to bake several dozen of your favorite sweet treats like cookies or brownies or other pickup items, you can do that and bring them back. Let's see. Trays filled with your Oneg treats can be dropped off at CRC on Friday, September 15th before noon. That evening at 8 o'clock is our Erev Rosh Hashanah service. Or if it's not before noon, then 30 minutes before the service, which is 7:30, okay? So Erev Rosh Hashanah, the first service out of the gate, is 3 weeks from today, we decided, and it's at 8 p.m. right here. We'll have the wall open, we'll have the band here, and we'll have all of our community. It'll be really nice. And then the next day, Rosh Hashanah Day, which is a Saturday, a Shabbat this year, that starts at 10 o'clock, where you'll hear the shofar. The shofar is blown during the morning service, not the evening service. So that's Rosh Hashanah. We'll talk about Yom Kippur another time. Yeah, Slichot is 9 p.m. on Saturday night, the Saturday night before Rosh Hashanah, which is Saturday night, September 9th. That starts, there's a reception at 8 if you want to come early, but the service starts at 9, and it's kind of the final piece of Elul preparation for the high holidays. So that's Slichot. It's a Saturday night service. We don't have many of those, but it is at 9 p.m. the service, 8 p.m. reception, and it'll be another chance to hear some members of the band do the music that you will hear often during the high holiday services. Thank you, Sarah. Okay. Having dispensed with those announcements, I want to ask if there's anyone in the congregation that would like to stand and say a name of someone they're remembering for Kaddish, either because it is their yard site, the anniversary of their death, or because of you're in your year of mourning. So we'll start right here. Oh, so the yard site of your mom 7 years ago. May her memory be a blessing, and we're thinking about you this time. Thank you. Go ahead, Sarah. Or go ahead. For Marlene. Marlene Eisenstein, we had the funeral the other day, and we've got to keep her chair sort of vacant with her kippah and her talit. Marlene was a Saturday morning regular, so for those of you that come to both Friday night and Saturday morning, you must know Marlene. She was here all the time, and a wonderful member of our community who we miss very much. Marlene Eisenstein of blessed memory. Thank you. Sure, add who? Alan Wolf. Oh, yeah, for Alan Wolf. Thanks for thinking of him. Yes. For Marlene. Yeah, she's. Yes. I used to see her all the time in the loop waiting for the bus. So, and she was little, but apparently her mother, who they call Lil Grandma, was even smaller. That's what I heard. Yes, Berger. Thinking about them with you. Thank you. Yes. Oh, Zikron Olivracha, may his memory be a blessing. Thank you. And Steve. Okay.
And then it's been a month now that my preschool classmate and one of my quick school district neighbor, Randy Sherman, who's killed in
Tragedy. Thanks for thinking about them and saying their names. Michael, any names from the stream?
I have one.
Yes, we are remembering Vera Von Kromp, Suzanne Mondello, Joan Butcher, Maurice Varon, Island, Tony Benet, Harold Craven, Gloria Sirkin, and I think that's all the names.
Thank you.
And Kirk Inger.
Yeah, so many names there. I heard Harold Craven's name and Vera Von Kromp, who I noticed was the yard site. And go ahead, Leslie.
My grandmother, Alice Bear, was mouth I inherited.
May her memory be a blessing. And Avi.
My friend Amanda Puckett. It's been 10 years. She was 19.
Wow.
It was very sudden.
Yeah.
The day before, I ran into her in a crosswalk. We were in college, and we're like, "Oh my gosh, haven't seen you all summer. We should hang out tomorrow." And then the next morning, she just died.
Sorry.
So, 10 years.
Hard to lose a friend. It really is a singular kind of a loss. Oh, so let's all stand together, those that are able, and support our mourners, but also because we are right remembering people from the congregation who have passed away that haven't been yet named. So I want to say their names. We're remembering Jody Rich, a friend of Maura Maxine's, and Marlene Eisenstein. I'm going to say her name again. Roger Goldman, Stephanie's husband and Josh's father, and really the founder of this congregation. Susanna Mondello, and Morton Ornstein, who was Joy Lieberman's brother. I talked to Joy just yesterday. Gary Morris, who was Margie Weissman's father, and Sarah Kessler, and Andy Poltman, the brother of Brian and Paula. Susan Hockman, Tovia Siegel, Sarah's mother, and Maurice Varon, Gail Wexler's cousin, and Hilda Polsky. My mom, Dr. Linda Randall, who died back in June. Aaron Coman, Mindy Poltman's father. Josephine Francis Del Priori. And Matt Blickenstaff, another young person who passed away, and we miss him very much. We're remembering also Sue Smith, Carl's wife, and Moisey Shopper, member of CRC and Bunny's spouse, Stephanie Buchler, Toby's sister, Lila Rosenblum, whose grandson Jack is having his bar mitzvah a week from tomorrow at Havdalah, Marcia Wolfsey and Leah Larson, Paul Michel, Andrea's husband, Jay Summer, Lois Loomstein, Steve's mom and Jerry's mom, Kathy Lass and Maurice Guller, Margie's father, and Gloria Sirkin, Nancy Weigley's mother, and Bert Newman and David Adelstein, Harriet's husband and Cheryl's father, Lois Chait and Nikki Nymark. Also remembering Stuart Milner and Patty Twellman, and Vera Von Croft, who was mentioned. That's Bob Croft's mom, and the yard site is just, I think yesterday it looks like. And then it was also the yard site a few days ago of Daniel Williams, a young father and husband, Stephanie's husband and Flannery's father. It's also the yard site of a number of people that we're remembering from our community. Robert Gorin, Amanda Puckett, Edith Scheinbein, Harold Craven. So much to say about Harold, we could have a whole service just about Harold, right? And was a partner with Eileen, who just turned 90 and is in North Dakota. So everything's connected. Martha Cutler and Olin Schlichter, Richard Lawrence and Sam Harris and Sandra Kling and Alice Bear, Edward McLaughlin, Harvey Goller, Bob Goller's uncle, Margie's uncle as well, Harold Spiegelglass and Joseph Diamond, Roger M. Desprez, and Sandy Gerwich. This week is the yard site of David Apperin, Dustin Twellman, a young man who died in a car accident. Rabbi Susan and I traveled up to his viewing in a small town in Illinois and came back in time for Slichot all those years ago. I'll never forget. Esther Diamond and Gretel Banger, Hannah Litsky and Harold Glazier, Dan Glazier's father, Joseph Wexelman Sr., Joseph Wexelman Jr.'s father, Lawrence Layton and Marvin Cohn and Patty Twellman and Louise Mandel, Lisa Mandel's mom. All those names, each one of them represents a whole world, and we stop everything to remember them every time we pray together with the words of our Mourner's Kaddish on pages 41 and 42. We say together, Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chaye chon u'v'yomei chon u'v'chaye techol beit Yisrael, bagalal v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam omei omaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha v'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlam araba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, amen. I want to add one more name. Right before I got here, I got word from my cousin, my first cousin, that my Uncle Bob passed away, Bob Levitz. He was married to my mom's sister. So my Aunt Donna and Uncle Bob and my mom, really, the three of them, that feels like a generational passing to me. I loved Uncle Bob. I grew up with my Uncle Bob. And I visited him when I was visiting my mom when she was dying. That was the last time I saw him. I just got word that he passed away. So his name was Bob Levitz. May his memory be a blessing. And may all of us who are mourning feel the peace that being with community brings to us as we sing that last verse of Kaddish, which is a prayer for peace.
Oh, say shalom b'mromav, Uya say shalom aleinu, ve'al kol
Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Amen. Close our service on Friday night by, like we do with all the services, by giving each other a blessing in just a moment. Then I'll sing us out into the Oneg room where the mosaic is, and those of you that want to stick around for a little bit will make the blessing for Kiddush over the wine and juice, and the motzi over the challah, and then we have some snacks, some stuff for everyone to eat and stay and hang out with each other if you'd like to. So we'll just do that in one moment, but for now, let's put our arms around each other. Thanks to our wonderful musicians, Leslie, Bryn, and Avi. We got to get a name for you guys, this trio. The Queenston Trio, I don't know. Here we go. This is another lift from the Torah. Lives beyond the scroll. We say, Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you now and always. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May God's light shine down upon you and through you and fill you with light and warmth and especially love. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. And may we all be granted with the greatest gift and blessing of all, which is the gift and blessing of shalom, of peace and wholeness in our hearts, in our homes, in our communities, in the places where we work and where our kids go to school. Liam, we want peace in our schools, right? Peace and shalom in our country, in the streets of our city, and God willing soon, may there be more peace, more true shalom throughout the whole world as we say amen, amen. And Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Thank you guys, always awesome. Thanks, Av. You gotta bring that drum out there, you can. If you wanna bring a drum out there.